Hey TechKnowStuds! Creating standards and controls for your cybersecurity program can be a very intensive process, especially if you have to create everything from scratch. So usually what you do is you start out with a framework, a blueprint. So in this video, let's talk about what a cybersecurity framework looks like. In this video, we're going to start out by defining what a cybersecurity framework is. Then we're going to get into some examples of what cybersecurity frameworks are out there. And then we will take a look at a couple cybersecurity frameworks to see what it looks like when we actually look into it. When you're putting together your cybersecurity program, you're putting together your policies, standards, procedures, guidelines, and controls. It's a lot of work, and there's potential that you could miss certain areas out of it. So what we like to do when we're creating all of this is use a cybersecurity framework, and there's many different cybersecurity frameworks. And the main focus of a cybersecurity framework is it gives a lot of standards and controls. It can also give some guidance and some policies, and it can help you develop all of that, but a lot of it is around standards and controls. You can think of it as a blueprint. If you're doing some sort of construction, you have a blueprint to base the construction off of, and that allows you to build whatever it is that you're building efficiently. Well, that's the same thing with the cybersecurity framework. It is a structure, a blueprint, different tools and things that you can do. So it doesn't specify all the specifics of how you're going to implement it, but what it does is it gives you this framework, this blueprint on how you can implement things. There are a lot of different frameworks to choose from. And you would choose the framework based off of what kind of industry you're in, the type of organization you're working with, where in the world you are at. You know, UK has some standards and United States has some different standards. So it kind of depends. And there are some national standards as well. So an example is if you were a small business in the United States, one of these options that might be a good choice for you is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. So it's a little more simplistic. It's more set up for small businesses or for small federal agencies. And so that's a good one as kind of a starting block. I worked extensively with the NIST 800-53, which is more for federal agencies within the United States, or if you're working with some federal agencies, then they also may require that NIST 800-53. If this one right here is one of the most popular in the world, so ISO 27000, 27001, 27002. They each define something a little different, but that is one of the more popular ones. And then this, one of the ones that I've had to work with is the SOC 2. So if you're looking for some sort of compliance and proof that you are reaching certain levels, this SOC 2 has an auditor that comes in. They analyze your controls to make sure that they're appropriate for the size of business you are and make sure that you're following those controls. So that's the SOC 2. If you're dealing with credit cards, then that's the PCI. If you're dealing with other government agencies or you're a federal contractor contracting with federal agencies, then you'll need to be CMMC certified. So depending on what your scenario is, you would choose different ones. So just as an example, this is the Cybersecurity Framework by NIST. The Cybersecurity Framework has to deal with, it's broken down into 5 parts: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And then there's a bunch of controls that are related to this. So if you download the control document for this, I can scroll through here. I'm going to scroll to the end where some of the controls are at so you can see it. This is a high overall look into the controls. And there's the identify controls, the protect controls, the detect, the respond. They're each given some sort of code here. So for identify, it's ID. So you can see all of these are ID. It's further broken down into categories. So IDAM is asset management. So these controls all have to do with asset management. These right here all have to do with the business environment. This has to do with governance. This has to do with risk assessment. So then let's jump down into the individual controls. So if I scroll down here, here's the identify. Here's the ID asset management. And there's a physical devices on the system with the organizations are inventoried. So this would be a control you would implement, and you'd say, okay, I'm going to have to take a inventory of all the physical devices and all the systems within the organization. So that is the subcategory right there. So you would write this down. And now you would further define this and say, well, how often are we going to do that? Are we going to do it on a yearly basis? Are we going to do it on a quarterly basis? Are we going to do it on a monthly basis, which would be kind of crazy, but suppose some organizations might do that. So this is then the control that you would implement to enforce security. So that's what a framework looks like. And as you can see, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework here is actually a shorter one. So you can see how many controls are involved with this one, and it's actually one of the shorter ones that are out there. It's more of kind of a starting point, and if you need to go more in depth or worked with certain customers that require more, then you may need to take it to the next level. Here's the site where it's talking about the ISO 27000 family. So there's a whole series of standards that are here, and one of the most popular, well-known set of standards here. So I could actually click on here and say, okay, let's take a look at the family here, and it'll list out, here's the 27000. It looks like it's dated 2018, and then this is 27001. So this would be a framework that you would use and you would implement into your cybersecurity program. So there you have it. That's the cybersecurity framework, and how you would implement it is you would first of all choose which cybersecurity framework is best for you. Once you've chosen that, you would take a look at the standards and download the standards, and then start changing the standards. There's some fill in the blanks parts where you'd fill it in with your own details of what you are going to implement, and then possibly you would remove some, possibly you would add some. You would change it to meet your organization's needs. So that's a cybersecurity framework.